Look at that. We'll have a bit of that. What a lovely afternoon it is up here in Yorkshire, folks. Just got hit by a leaf there from the autumn fall. But yeah, it's a gorgeous afternoon here, and it's a long time since I've made one of these. A long time since I've had the kind of health and the confidence to start speaking to a camera again. I had quite a lot of mental health and physical health problems, unfortunately. So the good news is I'm starting to win. Still nowhere near the person I used to be, but it is what it is. I've got a great job now. I work for David Preston of Preston Innovations fame and all those brands. I work for his company Fuka Bait, which is a really up and coming bait company doing some really good stuff at the minute. I'm the marketing and media manager for Fuka. It's working with my good friends Tom Scully and Tommy Pickering. When I've not been working and I've had the energy to do so, I've just been going for a few hours, odd bits here and there with just like a rod and my chair and things. Something different today though, because it's past 2 o'clock now. We haven't got much of the afternoon left, so it's literally going to be a quick session is this. And I've got my new pole to test, which I'll show you in a minute. But this venue, it's a lovely little pond. It's only shallow, it's gin clear. And there's quite a lot of unusual fishing. You never really know what you're going to catch. And the club do have work parties to the Leeds club to sort the weed out. And they do a great job, but unfortunately it's the back end of the year and it's started to grow up again. But there's a few clear areas, and you can see there how clear it is. Look, you can see the bottom several meters out. There's just literally this gap here. So I'm going to get my new pole out. And look at those leaves, it's gorgeous, isn't it? And I'm going to have a quick go for an hour, just maybe up towards the edge of them pondweed there, see what we can catch, if anything. Literally hardly brought anything today. Look, my box, I've not even brought my foot plate. Just wedged my pole sock on there, got my carry-all and a little bait waiter and a couple of old rigs and some maggots, really. It's see what happens. This is my new pole, and I say new, I've actually had it since June and it's now November and I've not actually got a chance to get it out yet, unfortunately. But it's the MTX4. Now this isn't a replacement for the old MTX4, which you've probably seen on my old videos that I used to use. It's a whole new pole altogether. The MTX5, the flagship, is the replacement for the old MTX4, really. That's our new flagship. I could have quite easily got the MTX5, but I've gone for the 4. I did put both the MTX4 and the MTX5 up together in one of my local pole alleys, and I had a good look at them before I decided which one I was going to get. And yeah, for me, at this present moment in time, it's the 4. And it's obviously quite a bit cheaper than the 5. I think the 5's 3.5, and I think this is 2,200. So there is a bit of a price difference there. It's more of a cart pole, I believe, than the 5. It's a bit more of a stronger pole. Throw it around, do everything, which is exactly what I want. How about that one? Right, I'm going to go for that. That's an 8 to 10 slick today. That's nice and soft, but just hopefully it'll be powerful enough to pull anything we hook away from those pond weeds there, which I'm sure they'll try and get into. If we're lucky to hook anything. It's starting to get dark already as the sun's going behind those trees there, so I'll get this pole up and let's see how we get on. Don't be expecting miracles today, folks. I'm very rusty and not match fit. It's a Malman float this. I don't think it's an F1 carbon. Not entirely sure what it is. But it's got a 1.2mm solid tip, which is very important for silverfish in the winter months. Nice light 4x10. I'm guessing it's going to be about 3 foot deep. So I'm going for an 18. It's an MTX4 V2. It's a size 16, but it's more like an 18 to be honest. It's a small 16. So about 18's about right, I think, for silvers this time of year. Well, to be honest, on the commercial fisheries, I don't really very often fish anything less than an 18. I think you lose fish, or unless they're really pressurised, I think you lose fish, or you don't hit as many bites with it smaller up. Right. It is a lot deeper than I thought, to be honest with you. Just about going to get away with it with this rig, I think. Could do with a bit of a longer lash really, but with this clear water I would prefer to fish a bit of a longer lash, but not to worry, it'll make do. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to fish in a bit of an area today. I'm going to loose feed, because we're fishing for roach, chub, eyed, those kind of things. I'm going to loose feed a bit, and I'm going to fish over an area. It's a nice clear spot in the middle there before you start getting to some weed over here to the right. So I think we're going to have to fish through the water a lot on this quick hour. I'm just going to move my shots up. These are number 10s, I think this is 10s or 11s this 4x10's shot it out with. I'm going to move my shots right up, so I've got a really slow fall in this clear water. I've got one last number 11 on top of the hook length there, about 6 inch away. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I've got about 7 in total. I'll start off with a single white maggot. Pheasants over there, not very happy. So we've got my GoPro on my chest, and we've got a phone behind us on the roller. So if you can see a bit of yellow, it's a matrix roller. As I say, I've been flirting a few maggots into this general area. I'm just going to lay the rig completely horizontally, like that, right in the middle of where I've been spraying them maggots. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go really easy on the feed to start with. I don't know if or what we're going to catch, if anything. It's literally going to be, it's a really slow fall, is that? You're joking, straight away. That was right on the drop, was that? Only a small babby fish, but it is a start. Perch there, look. A greedy little perch. Well, that's encouraging. It's encouraging because it shows some fish down there competing for the bait. Look, they're feeding on the drop already. So that's a good sign. As I say, look how clear this water is, folks. If you can see the maggots down there. Gin, absolute gin. Let's have another go. Lay it in again. Say that float didn't even settle. Oh dear. That was not good catapulting. A bit out of practice with a catapult. Again. Another little fish. It's come off. It's come off. Sorry. So there's a few little perch and stuff down there at the minute, which is interesting. So straight away I'm thinking maybe I've not fed enough. I need to look at upping the feed a bit to get through to some better fish. Again, bite on the drop. Hang on. Oh, that was either a good fish or it was in a weed bed. So that wasn't no little perch. Definitely had a bite then on the drop. It's very, very slow fall, this rig, so I don't know if you can start. Bristles really slowly coming round to a vertical position. Let's see what happens. Something's taking that again on the drop. No, that's a better fish. That is a better fish. I can see it in the clear water. I think that's an hide. Oh, try not to disturb the swim with it coming to the top too much, but that's a nice fish, that. I've got to be careful here because there's a gap between two weed beds just there in front of me where I've got to take it through. But that's 8 to 10 slicks doing a really nice job. I can see it in the clear water. It's an hide. A good fish as well. But amazing how quickly those fish are onto them maggots, and how none of the bites I've had have been anywhere near the bottom. So already I'm thinking I'm going to have to shallow this rig right up and just fish it through the water for these fish. Take my time with this because you don't rush hide, that's for sure. That's a nice fish, is that? You can just see the maggot on the edge of its mouth. It's only just hooked. There you go, folks. There it is. Look at that. Look at that. I'll have a bit of that. Second, third chuck. Look at the size on that. Now that, it's not the biggest hide I've caught, but it's one of them. I caught an hide at £4.12 once on a feature for Improve Your Course Fishing, and that, it's not £4.12, but it's £3 plus is that. It's huge. Let's have a look at this. Get this hooked up, folks, and show you this great big daddy hide. This fish, this camera. This is a massive hide. There you go. Nice padded roller bag for you there, Mr. Hyde. Show this camera quickly because it's a lovely fish, is that? Look at that. Immaculate. That's been worth coming already, as that fish. There we go. Bye bye, pal. And off he goes. Right, folks, well, let's react to what's happening in this swim. Because fish tell you everything, and they're already telling me loads here, about 2-3 chucks in. They don't want to be anywhere near the bottom. That's obvious. There's a few fish there competing. As I say, what's that? That's a 7-foot top kit, so it's probably about 5.5 foot what I'm fishing. About 5 foot, yeah. So what I'm going to do already, I'm going to to take 2 feet off that at least already, because these fish have been miles off the bottom. And then let's see where we go from there. See what if we can find the depth of feeding at. Top. Lovely. See what happens now. So this MTX4 then, version 2, what can we say about it? Well, the first thing I noticed was the wall strength. It's miles thicker and stronger than the old MTX Ultra range. You know, it's pretty solid. You know, you squeeze it and it doesn't budge. So it's a lot stronger pole. It's a pole you can throw around. This is carp, roach, everything. It's a do everything pole, that's what I'd say. Thank you, Mr. Perch. So the old version 1 poles were very, very responsive, really, really lovely to fish with. And especially the kind of £3,000, the old MTX4. Now this is obviously a bit cheaper, it's 800 quid cheaper. It's heavier than the old range, but that's to be expected from obviously the thicker, stronger carbon. Now I don't put pole weight half as important as how rigid or responsive it is, and also how strong it is. So for me, strength and rigidity are the most important things. The fact it's a bit heavier than the old range does not bother me one bit. It's, as I say, as long as you're sat correctly, your feet are level using foot plates and something, which obviously I'm not today because I'm just messing around. But as long as you've got level feet and you know, your knees here are nice and level, and they're taking the weight of any pole. So because it's cheaper than the MTX5, the flagship, it's obviously a little bit less responsive than that, which, you know, is to be expected obviously. But it's still very, very fishable, a very good responsive pole. And I think sometimes a pole can be too stiff almost, you know, they can be overly stiff. I know some poles on the market are like this and they break very, very easily. And, you know, a little bit of flex towards the end, especially around the 4 and the 5, it's not that bad a thing, especially when, you know, when you're summer and you're going slap, slap, slap all the time. Those kind of parts of the pole take a lot of strain, and having a little bit of flex there, it's not a bad thing necessarily. You know, you can fish for F1, you can put short kits in and short 4s and shorten your pole like that for F1s obviously if you want to, and if you're fishing a bit short. There's too many poles can be too stiff, and when you give them a big strike they fold in half, you know. So far I'm really enjoying my first hour or so with the version 2. We're going to try it at 16 metres soon. It's missing an odd bite now. I'm thinking of shallowing up actually. I think these fish, they're either eyed or the small fish that are messing around quite shallow. But it's not, you see there? Let's try a bit shallower. I imagine I'll get less bites because I'm not fishing through as much water, but I might hit more. So let's try a bit shallower. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick these eyed out or if I'm just going to have to feed and wait till one comes along in between these little fish. I think when I've fished here before in the past, that's kind of been the case. You just plough through the little fish and then all of a sudden Mr. Eyed comes along. So let's try that now. Fishing quite shallow now. See if we get any bites this deep. So for 2,200, I think this is quite a good pole actually for that kind of money. I think in our past range, the version 1.3 at £1.5 was a really good bit of kit for that kind of money. It was just, it's a funny price range, that is, that kind of £1.5, because you're not, obviously you're not quite flagship, but you're not basic either. So it's a difficult price range to get right. And a lot of people bought that version 3, and a lot of people were very happy with it. You know, that version 1 MTX3. And I know quite a few of my mates and people around York and stuff have got this 4. And they're very happy with it, and they've gone from, like, you know, 2,000, £2.5 grand poles quite happily to this one. And that's a nice roach. Look at that. Very nice roach. I think this elastic's just about bang on today. Could probably have used a 6 to 8 slick, but if I hooked one of them chub that are in here, there's no chance. I don't think I'd get it out on 6 to 8. It'd just bury me in them weed beds. I hope the light's starting to go already, folks, so I hope you can still see. But that was straight away. That was about 2.5, 3 foot rig. Probably about 2.5 foot I had that roach. So we're sort of fishing about half depth now. Silver again, well, not bad silver. We've snagged in some weed by the looks of it. That gap, weed gap that I said. Oh, great, come. Oh dear. Never mind. Wasn't concentrating then, just dragged it straight into a pondweed bed. To swing it out and then land in a straight line like that. And then let that float bristle slowly right itself to vertical as the shots register. Keeping in touch with it. Don't move it, otherwise you're twitching it unnaturally. You won't get a bite probably. There's a bite. Little babby again. This kind of £1,000 plus mark, this is kind of the crunch time when you put, a lot of poles are very similar to each other when you get, especially at 13, then it's not until 14.5 you notice the difference between the good poles and the really top poles. So whenever you put that last barrel on, or so to speak, that's when you can really tell the price difference and the performance. So we're now out to 16 metres. Oh, bloody roach. Right folks, so we're now out to 16 metres, full 16, and as you'd expect, it's obviously not quite as rigid as it is at 14.5. When you're paying sort of upwards of 3, 4, 5 grand, that's when you get the real performance at 16, I always think. But it's very, very acceptable for a 60 metre pole. For just over 2 grand, it's very acceptable for me. I wanted a pole that does everything and I can just throw around with total confidence. I don't want a really flimsy kind of pole that's going to fold on me all the time. I want something that I can, you know, do a load of carp crunching with, shallow, dobbing, margin, all in one. And this is a very much an all-round crunching pole. It will do anything you want, I think, this pole. It's something to have. I wanted a pole I could be confident in. I can squeeze the sections in, slap it, fish down the edge, and I'm pretty sure that this will do that. And it's still very, very acceptable, even at 14, 16 metre lengths. It's still performing very well. And I'm not the biggest built of guys. I've not been very well for a long time. There's not much meat on me at all, so I'm not very very strong, particularly at the minute. So this is, and I'm throwing this pole about fine. That's a pole. That is a nice perch. I could quite easily have got the MTX5, the one above, and you know what, I might still get that in years to come, but for me, for this time, for what the fishing I intend to do, I thought the version 2 MTX4 was the one for me. And when I start match fishing again, hopefully, and I start using it more and more, I'll do a bit more of a kind of, well, it's not a review because I'm obviously backed. You can't review things if you've already got a vested interest in the company. It's more of an overview. So it's not a review by any means because it's obviously biased. But if it wasn't up to scratch, I wouldn't use it. There we go, there's another roach at 16 metres. Guide it through that gap in the weed, onto the roller. And here she comes. Oh, that's perch, sorry. Perch feeding shallow. There must be so many perch down there coming shallow. When I go match fishing, I do fish 16 quite a lot. I'm one of those, I fish a lot of venues where you need to get up to islands or sometimes long line, and a lot of the places I've fished in winter, you had to fish 14.5 to get a bite and then go to 16, get your early fish at 14.5, tap a few pellets in, and then go finish up at 16 on the limit. So I do a lot of fishing at this kind of length. There's catting maggots there all over the place. And there's another one to that far reed bed. There must be a nest of perch in that far reed bed. So yeah, I'll come back away from these perch, I think. Not a bad fish, them. If you're catching them in a silverfish match. Chunky fish, them. You'd probably fish like casters down these edges or something for them. I might just increase the feed a bit. See if we can get these eyed. See if we can get through the little fish and into the eyed. Increase the maggots a bit more. I'll probably get less bites from the little fish, but that's the idea. I want to get these eyed here. That was quite a fast bite. That was quite eyedy, was that? Uh-oh. It's going to try and weed me, is this? I've got a chub or an eye here. Oh, sugar. Try and get this. We're only on a no 10 up length. Must be a chub this. It's gonna do me in these weeds. Only just holding out this gear. This is low now. Try and get it to the top. So if you can get it taking some air, you're all right. And have we got it away from that? Have we got it away from them weed beds? Right, let's pray we have. I've been having about 20 last casts, trying to get one of these fish, and I've finally got another bonus fish. And I think by the way it's fought and the way it's, I think it's a chub this. I think we've got a chub. Have we got a chub? It's gonna... Yes! It's a chub! Chub-a-dub-dub. It's getting dark. And do you know what I've done? I've just, give him a rest a sec. I've gone right back to about 6 inches off the bottom, almost full depth. For some reason, I thought those fish would come shallow, these bigger fish, and even though it's taken the bait at about 3 foot, it wouldn't have a 3 foot rig, and that's the same as that other hide, so that's a bit perhaps it's just how they want it falling through them rather than sort of stationary or what have you. They wanted a bait at 3 foot falling on a 4.5, 5 foot rig, and that's how both them big fish have caught. And I've just caught smaller fish when I've come shallow to the depth that was getting. We've had these 2 fish at set 2.5, 3 foot. I've not caught them. So whether it's that or it's just, you know, it's just a time of day. One's eventually come out again. I don't know, but let's have a quick look at that. That's a chub, is that? It's not a bad one either. Now, if you were fishing a river, I dare say you'd be very grateful for one of them in winter. We're going to end on that, I think, definitely. Definitely going to end on that. I've been having about 20 last casts. Very nice chub. Show him to the other camera a second, very quickly. Go, lovely stillwater chub. Can't beat one of them in November, mid-November. Getting on for £3 again. And away. Well, that's your lot, folks. It's getting dark here. It's about 4:15. It was an hour session, turned into about an hour and a half. They always do, don't they? So yeah, plenty of bites there. Really good few hours, actually. Enjoyed that. Nice to get out and blow a few cobwebs off. It's been finding it quite hard to get out and have motivation and energy and things to leave the house. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I don't know when the pole's come back out again, but when it does, I'll keep you informed how it goes. Really, I think a lot of people, they expect a lot from a pole these days. That may be too much sometimes. They look at these 3, 4, 5 gram poles, and they compare them directly to you know, £1.5 grand, £2 grand jobs. So hopefully, see you again soon. Have a good Christmas and all that. I'd like to get down here when the weed's gone as well again, maybe next year, see if we can catch some more of them big-eyed and chub, see if there's anything carp or anything else in here. But yeah, thank you for watching, and tight lines.